All right, 71. You may often also humorously grant to your adversary what he wishes to detect from you, as Laelius, when a man is disreputable family told him of disreputable family told him that he was unworthy of his ancestors, replied, "But by Hercules, you are worthy of yours." Jokes, too, are frequently uttered in a sensacious manner, as Marcus Cincius on the day when he proposed his law about gifts and presents, and Hyacinthus stood forth and asked him, with some scorn, "What are you proposing, little Cincius?" Replied, "That you, Caius, may pay for what you wish to use. Things also which are impossible are often wished for with much wit, as Marcus Lepidus, when he lay down upon the grass while others were taking their exercise in the Campus Martius, exclaimed, 'I wish this were labor.' It is an excellent joke also to give inquisitive people who tease you, as it were, a calm answer of such a nature as they do not expect, as Lepidus the censor, when he deprived and Antistius of Pergy of his horse, and his friends called out to him and inquired what reason Antistius could give his father why his horse was taken from him, when he was an excellent, industrious, modest, frugal member of the colony, rejoined, that I believe not a word of it. Some other sorts of jests are enumerated by the Greeks as execrations, expressions of admiration, threats, but I think that I have divided these matters into too many heads already, for such as lie in the force and meaning of a word are commonly easy to settle and define. But in general, as I observed before, they are heard rather with approbation than laughter. Jokes, however, which lie in the subject and thought are, though infinite in their varieties, reducible under a very few general heads. For it is by deceiving expectation, by satirizing the tempers of others, by playing humorously on our own, by comparing a thing with something worse, by disassembling, by uttering apparent absurdities, and by reproving folly, that laughter is excited. And he who would be a fastidious speaker must be endowed with a natural genius for such kinds of wit, as well as with personal qualifications, so that his very look may adapt itself to every species of the ridiculous, and the graver and more serious such a person is, as is the case with you, Crassius, so much more humorous do the sayings which fall from him generally appear. But now I think that you, Antonius, who said that you would repose during my discourse as in some place of refreshment, will, as if you have stopped to in the Pontine Marsh, neither a pleasant nor a wholesome region, consider that you have rested long enough, and will proceed to complete the remainder of your journey. "I will," said Antonius, "having been very pleasantly entertained by you, and having also acquired instruction as well as encouragement to indulge in jesting, for I am no longer afraid lest anyone could charge me with levity in that respect, since you have produced such authorities as the Fabrizi, the Africani, the Maximi, the Catos, and the Lepidi in its favor. But you have heard what you desired from me, at least such points as it was necessary to consider and detail with particular accuracy. The rest are more easy and arise wholly from what has already been said." 72. For when I have entered upon a cause and traced out all its bearings in my mind as far as I could possibly do so, when I have ascertained and contemplated the proper arguments for the case, and those particulars by which the feelings of the judges may be conciliated or excited, I then consider what strong or weak points that cause contains, for hardly any subject can be called upon into question and controversy and pleading, which has not both, but to what degree is the chief concern. In pleading, my usual method is to fix on whatever strong points a cause has and to illustrate and make the most of them, dwelling on them, insisting on them, clinging to them, but to hold back from the weak and defective points in such a way that I may not appear to shun them, but that their whole force may be disassembled and overwhelmed by the ornament and amplification of the strong parts. If the cause turn upon arguments, I maintain chiefly such as are the strongest, whether they are several or whether there are but one. But if the cause depend on the conciliation or excitement of the feelings of the judges, I apply myself chiefly to that part which is best adapted to move men's minds. Finally, the principal point for consideration on this head is that if my speech can be made more effective by refuting my adversary than by supporting my own side of the question, I employ all my weapons against him. But if my own case can be more easily supported than that on the other side can be confuted, I endeavor to withdraw the attention of the judges from the opposite party's defense and to fix it on my own. In conclusion, I adopt on my own responsibility two courses which appear to me most easy, since I cannot attempt what is more difficult. One, that I make sometimes no reply at all to the troublesome or difficult argument or point, and at such forbearance perhaps somebody may reasonably laugh, for who is there that cannot practice it? But I am now speaking of my own abilities, not those of others, and I confess that if any particular press very hard upon me, I usually retreat from it, but in such a manner as not only to appear to flee with my shield thrown away, but even with it thrown over my shoulder, adopting at the same time a certain pomp and parade of language, and a mode of flight that resembles fighting, and keeping upon my guard in such a way that I seem to have retired, not to avoid my enemy, but to choose more advantageous ground. The other is one which I think most of all worthy of the orator's precaution and foresight, and which generally occasions me very great anxiety. I am accustomed to study not so much to benefit the causes which I undertake as not to injure them, but that an orator must aim at both objects. But it is, however, a much greater disgrace to him to be thought to be have done. A much greater disgrace to him to be thought to have damaged a cause than not to have profited it.